Hello, welcome to the Villa View. It's time for a match preview in association with Luke 1977. If you use the code TVV20 at checkout, you'll get 20% off most items except for those that are charity based. Joined for this match preview by Christopher Dolan, making a triumphant return as Villa beat Leeds on Saturday, and we now go to Sheffield United, staying with the Yorkshire theme, on Wednesday night at Bramall Lane. And Dolan, we go to it in a good place, as we so often do. Defeats kind of feel heightened when we do lose. When we win, you feel in a very, very good place.
Yeah, no, I thought we were excellent on Saturday night, and again, it was one of the ones that we'd earmarked after the humbling we got at home by Leeds at the start of the season, and we both said Leeds were probably the worst team we could have faced, coming off quite a few sort of lethargic, lackluster performances. I felt we were lacking energy in the last 3 or 4 games, and we looked a little bit leggy, a little bit tired. And the way Leeds play, it's pretty punk rock stuff, So I was rather fearful, and then when we saw the team news come out on Saturday evening, it was like, okay, right, this could be interesting, but. There's a reason why I'm not a manager, and there's a reason why Dean Smith, as we saw on Sky Sports, is, probably, led us to one of the biggest turnarounds, one of the most impressive turnarounds anywhere from where we were last year. I shall never doubt the man ever again. But no, it was excellent on Saturday, and. These Wednesday kickoffs, they're going to have to be good to us at some point. We've lost the last 3 or 4 on a Wednesday night, so let's hope we can break that little hoodoo. But it'll be a tough game. It'll be a very tough game. I mean, they're down now. I mean, I can't believe they're not already mathematically down, but they're gone. They know that, so they're only playing for pride at the minute. But again, they're a high tempo team, and on their day, as we saw last season, they can give anybody a game. But I think if we're going to be serious top 8, serious top 6 contenders, we need to go on a little run now, and our next sort of 3 or 4 games are, in my book, all very, very winnable.
Yeah, I mean, Sheffield United went to Old Trafford not that long ago and picked up a 1-0 win. I know it was 2-1. In the end, they picked up a 2-1 win against Manchester United, which was a great result. So on the day, they can be the best, but it seems that their day hasn't been very many times this season so far. You and I are both fresh. It's Monday night now. We're recording. We're both fresh from watching Jamie Carragher's expert analysis and Villa's defence and Villa's turnaround in general. It was a very good watch, wasn't it, Chris? And it's good to hear one of the best pundits talking in detail about us and talking about that turnaround, because that was our 8th clean sheet away from home so far this season. On Saturday, we didn't keep a single clean sheet away from home at all last season. So that turnaround is just absolutely immense, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that's, as we all know, it's the best football show on TV by some distance, and I think Carragher is one of the best pundits around, and he has got a soft spot for the Villa. I think he respects us as a club. I think he respects what we're doing and how we try and play, and I called it very early on this season about Konza being right up there and easily being in contention to make that England squad. And as Carragher rightly said, he's been one of the most impressive players this season. And again, as he mentioned, that triangle of Konza, Mings, and Martinez has just been outstanding. And just massive credits to everyone really at the football club as a back 5, including the keeper. They've just been unbelievable. And to conceding 56 goals last season, to conceding 37 since we came back after lockdown until now is staggering. To be third in goals conceded. 16 clean sheets since lockdown. I think Carragher said what we all thought. If lockdown hadn't happened, we would have been snowballing into the championship pretty quickly. And we managed to come back a different beast. And with the recruitment we had in the summertime, we've just kicked on, and the stats are quite staggering. And there's been a few a few fans have kind of given Mings and the like a bit of stick, but as you said to me, Konza wouldn't be as good as he is without Mings alongside him, and I think there's no doubt that just having someone like Martinez who you just very rarely puts a foot wrong. The guy just loves to catch everything in sight, and to have that, to have someone like him behind you must be, it must make such a difference. I mean, we had 4 goalkeepers last year. How can you build any kind of consistency? You're playing.
I think we had 6 the season before. It's an absolute madness at Villa Park.
So we haven't got our goalkeeping situation right since. Well, I thought Sam Johnson was pretty consistent when he came in over those 2 years, and we looked quite tight under Bruce. But we haven't had a consistent number 1 since the days of Brad Friedel, really. And he's on course to breaking his clean sheet record, which I think he'll comfortably do. You can see this guy having 20 plus clean sheets the way he's going. It's quite remarkable. And there was that stat that came up today before we went on air here.
Who scored one?
Yeah. So in all the games we have won, we've only conceded 2 goals, but we scored 7 in that game. So it's honestly it's mind-boggling when you break it down and look at it from that point of view. I see they just put it up on screen there. I mean, that is just an unbelievable stat. And this is what I'm saying about the progression of this football team, and the fact that we are only, in my eyes, three or four really good signings away from breaking into the top 4. And I honestly believe with this current setup, and we keep the players that we have, and we add to that. Like I said before, it's a very, very young group of players, the youngest average age in the league. So they're only going to get better and better. And if we can add to that with a bit more quality, then we'll be in the Champions League in the next 4 seasons. I have no doubts. I have absolutely no doubts. A goalkeeper at 20 years old, he's in the prime of his career. He's only going to get better. Konza is, what's Konza, 21, 22, £12 million from Brentford. He's only going to get better. Matty Cash. I mean, Matt Targett, in terms of, I would go as far as saying that Matt Targett would be my player of the season, from where he was last season.
Yeah,
to
it would
where
be
he
a
is.
fair shout.
Overall, he's not been the most sort of swashbuckling, but just purely based on improvement. He's by far the most improved player. But to go from getting pretty much, torn left, right, and centre last season, to being part of the worst defence in the league, to being part of the best defence in Europe is it's quite something, and he's been immense. But you just go through the team from back front, and I thought on Saturday, like, maybe Chori didn't have a great game, but aside him, nobody fell below an 8 for me on Saturday. I thought McGinn was back to his best.
Yeah,
I thought we looked energetic. I thought we looked lively. I thought we looked streetwise. We know when to slow it down. We don't rush it. We don't panic. We look composed. We look assured. And that all starts from the back. That starts from the keeper, and the way he carries himself and handles himself. He's just such a calm influence on that entire team, and he must be a dream. Like I said before, he must be a dream to coach. And I think it's just shown in the consistency. We need to follow this win up. This win against Leeds up on Wednesday.
That's one thing that Carragher said. He said every time Villa have had the chance to win the game in hand, or win a game that you expect them to win, to boost them and move them up the league. Usually a back-to-back win, to be fair, in recent times. We haven't done it.
Yeah.
Wednesday is a golden opportunity to do it, isn't it? And we can't afford to not take that chance.
I think our next, as I said before, and we just get the fixtures up here. I think our next 4 or 5 games are all very, very winnable, and I think if we're going to be pushing for a top 6, I mean, we have Sheffield United away on Wednesday, Wolves at home at Villa Park. I think it'll be quite a cagey affair. It'll be a tough game, but I think
they've hit a little bit of form. They've had a little bit of an improvement in the last 5 or 6 weeks. They've picked up, actually, to be fair to them.
They have. Then Newcastle away, I really think we should be going there and getting 3 points, and then Tottenham away. Although this sounds a bit crazy,
they've suddenly picked up as well, Tottenham.
But I thought Burnley could have had 2 or 3 after Spurs went 1-0 up. I thought Burnley played well in the first 15, 20 minutes.
I thought Spurs battered them. I thought Burnley were really poor.
No,
One of the poor. I wish Burnley had been that poor when we played them.
That's true. And then you got Fulham, Liverpool, City. I mean, they're all tough, but I think this, if we can emulate the kind of form that we showed in December, we know that we're hard to play against. We know that we don't concede many, and bar the Burnley game, as soon as we go ahead, we don't lose football games, and that's quite something.
Yeah, I mean, 13 clean sheets. Martinez is at. So like you say, if you do score and you manage to go ahead, the chances are you will keep a clean sheet, especially away from home when the defence has been magnificent most weeks, in all fairness to them. You spoke a little bit at the start about the team selection for the Leeds game. Obviously, they won. Like you say, it was quite a streetwise performance, which I always like, because over my time supporting Villa, that's one thing I've never, ever really felt Villa have been streetwise, but it was there on Saturday. What does he do with the team now? Because Nakamba, Dean Smith kind of spoke as if he was specific selection for that Leeds game. You could argue maybe for Sheffield United, a game where you'd expect to be on top, he wouldn't be a selection for this game, and it would be one to put Louise back in for. What do you think he'll do? Because it would be incredibly harsh on Nakamba to be taken out, but he kind of said himself he was brought in for that game.
Yeah, I mean, there's only one player that walks straight back into the team, and that's Jack Grealish. He's the only player that walks into the team, no matter who's. And that's why we said about El Ghazi, it was harsh being dropped. But whenever you're being dropped for Jack Grealish, or whoever it may be, then he's the only one player that can walk back into that side. So I think he'll stick. I think he'll stick with it. If Jack's not back for Wednesday, which
I think he is. I think he's 50-50. But I wouldn't take the chance. I don't feel it's necessary. If you've just coming off the back of a winning team, you've got El Ghazi on the left who's flying. After his confidence, I'd save him for Saturday.
No, I think it's necessary, man. I think we have to win every game. I think every game's crucial.
No. I know we do have to win every game, but I think we're capable of winning on Wednesday without him.
Yeah, definitely. And we look at the stats, and we look at the injuries they have.
Oh, killer!
They're missing their entire first choice back three.
Well, I tell you what, someone must have sent you a good script in the lead up to this, Dolan.
I mean, we all know about Ramsdale as well. I mean, I feel for the lad. Because he shipped in goals for fun last year against Bournemouth, and he's just not as good as Henderson, is he? No. But yeah, I mean, they're there to be got at. You see what else are in these notes.
No, but that is a massive thing to not have you play three at the back, which they played very well last season. And to be fair, I think they've had injuries all season at the back. I don't think they've had a regular back line, because I've seen Jagielka in there, Ampadu's been in there at times, Keane Bryan has played games. So they've never really had that first choice back three all season. Egan's struggled with injuries a lot this season. I don't remember seeing much of O'Connell. So to have Egan, Basham and O'Connell out, they're going to struggle, aren't they? That probably points to why they're on 11 points. Because the clean sheets have gone.
Basham pulls up with a hamstring, but it looks good against Fulham, and then within 5 minutes, their goal comes down his side, and it's no coincidence. But again, for as impressive as our rise has been, it's quite staggering how incredible their demise has been. I can't understand why it's been so dramatic. I mean, they are a team mainly of championship players, and there's no doubt they well, as we're saying, they truly overperformed last year. But nobody would have had them down to be at this, to be this low and rooted to the bottom of the table.
I remember saying last season I thought they'd do well, and they did, but something just dramatically changed. I mean, Henderson's a big loss in goal.
Oh, massive.
He's a massive loss, but it shouldn't be. I mean, we've just had something sent through to us. 21 defeats in 26 is a disgrace. I can't remember what the Villa side that went down would have been on at that point, but it probably was better than that, which would be absolutely crazy.
We picked up a Palace win at the start of that in that January. I think the year we went down. I think we beat Norwich.
Yeah, we won a couple in a row, I think, at one point. We'd won the first game of the season. But the drop off has been massive. People said that they'd be found out in the second year, but I thought, okay, yeah, there might be in a relegation battle to be sat bottom with 11 points is crazy because they've spent a bit of money as well. Sander Berger was £20 million last January. They've 25 million on Ryan Brewster, who hasn't really played, so they have chucked some money around a little bit.
No, they have, and I thought Brewster would have been very, very good for them. But I think you're right. I don't want to knock the lad because it's never good to single people out. But to drop 18 million quid on a goalkeeper that you let go for a couple of 100,000 to Bournemouth and then to buy him back the year after he gets relegated, and let's be honest, he wasn't great in that season for Bournemouth either. If I was, you look at the keeper Bournemouth had, I'd have taken Asmir Begovic over Ramsdale.
Begovic has had a dodgy few years as well.
But I think to drop 18 million on a keeper that's so inexperienced, and I think he saw Ramsdale as essentially as like the next Henderson. I think he thought, I'm losing a young English goalkeeper. I'm going to bring in another young English goalkeeper, and he's going to be as good as Henderson, and we're going to be keeping clean sheets, and we're going to be sort of top 10, top 12, and it's no coincidence that we bring in an unbelievable goalkeeper, and our progression's been frightening. They bring in a very inexperienced, lacking in confidence goalkeeper who's just been relegated, and they're rooted to the bottom of the league with 2 or 3 wins all season. Carragher says it week in, week out. Getting that goalkeeper position right is so key. And we've said it, you look at all the top teams, all the teams that have won titles, won cups, won trophies, they've all had world-class goalkeepers. They've all had goalkeepers that on their day can single-handedly keep you in a game of football. And that's what we have. And you look back at the games they've won. Now, some of the play, people like Mings and Konza, they've been so good that the ball's never actually made it through to Martinez. But there's been a few standout games, like I said before. That Wolves game away, I thought he won us the game single-handedly. I thought he got us a point against Brighton. I thought even against Leeds, he didn't have much to do, but it's just those moments when he just comes and claims the ball and just slows.
He relieves pressure very well.
Relieves the pressure that in the last minute against Leeds when Meslier came up and he came and he won that corner, and everything just he just slows it down. He relieves the pressure, and you don't have to win games by making worldly saves. It's those small things for me. It's that collective that make all the difference, and I think it's the tale of two goalkeepers, and you see what we have done in our recruitment and where we are and the money they have spent, because I think they bought Ramsdale for 18 million and we bought Martinez for 18 million. So pound for pound, it was the same. It was along the same lines in terms of transfer.
It's more difficult for them to attract players, I would suggest as well. And we spoke about like lockdown being good for Villa and the work that was done when we had the break. It obviously kept us up, and we've carried on the momentum this season. They were going really well before the first lockdown, and they lost momentum. It was like the opposite for them, and they did not end the season well, and that's filtered down and carried on into this season. I mean, you think of the first game of the season, we played them. They get a man sent off early. Martinez saves a penalty from Lundstrom, I think it was, in that first game of the season. They go 1-0 up in that game. Their season could go in a completely different trajectory, and ours could have done as well. That gave us a bit of momentum, and we built on that and got going. For them, Villa have been great since that first lockdown. Sheffield United have been the opposite. They just haven't recovered from it. And it is hard being a team like them down the bottom, but I don't think you can excuse being on 11 points at this stage of the season. Credit to them for sticking with Wilder, though, because I absolutely think that's the right thing to do.
I think so too. And there's something about that. I mean, there was rumblings going around last season. I heard a few things from some people that maybe Wilder was looking to walk away, and
they've got problems behind the scenes, I think.
They've got some issues behind the scenes, and I think maybe what I was told is maybe he thinks he's taken them as far as he can possibly take them. How do
Again, though, a bit of disruption behind the scenes. It filters down onto the pitch. We've seen it with Villa's ownership troubles in the past. It can filter down onto the pitch. Yeah. Again, I don't like to keep comparing us, but we're the opposite, stable, building the right way, and it's reflected on the pitch at the moment. So you got to feel for them in some ways, because they did do so well last season.
and to come out game after game and face the media and you know he's a proper football man, Chris Wilder. He gets
I
it.
really like him.
He's proper, like, you know. I think I think he'll go on to manage. You know, well, he's managing at the top level, but I think he'll continue to manage. I think if whatever happens at Sheffield United next season, if he's there or not, I think he'll be managing in the Premier League more times than he's managing in the Championship. Personally, I think he's a great manager. I think you know, I think a club like if you're a club like Crystal Palace and you're looking to freshen things up, you
Not
know,
bad show.
you're looking at someone like Chris Wilder to come in there and you know, and get that culture, play some great football. A young British manager, plays the right way, full of passion, full of enthusiasm, knows the game inside out, and he's certainly very streetwise. So you know, you're looking to kick on as a football club. You could do a lot worse than bringing in someone like Chris Wilder. So I've got a lot of time for the guy. He calls it like it is. I always remember his post-match interview actually after the game when we won 1-0, the Snodgrass winner, and he was like, fair play, like, you know, they have that bit of quality, and he was just very, very complimentary, and he's always been pretty complimentary about Villa and
Him and Dave Smith are good friends as well.
Yeah, and he was obviously in the studio for the playoff final, and him and Smith got on well, and yeah, I've got a lot of time for him. And it must be hard to come out and keep a brave face on, you know, week after week, 21 defeats. You know, it must be so hard to keep, you know, going to work every day and trying to motivate those players and you know, put a brave face on and have to listen to, you know, some of the nonsense that gets written about you in the press. It must be really, really hard. So yeah, nothing but respect for Chris Wilder, and I like Sheffield's United. I think they've got great players. The boys are really good footballers, and they play the game the right way. And they were a breath of fresh air last year, and it's slightly sad to see what's happened to them. But yeah, hopefully they'll come back in the not too distant future.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we hope Villa do pile on that misery on Wednesday. Just going back to the team selection a little bit, because I feel like we've spoke about Sheffield United for the entirety of this match preview so far. Because we freshened it up on Saturday and it gave us a bit of a boost, there's an argument to freshen it up again, and that fresh legs actually does something for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, will Barty come back in? Well, you know, I mean,
I'd be surprised if Barkley didn't play, if I'm being honest. I think he'll come in for Ramsey.
So would I. I mean, what's he thinking there on the side on the sidelines, and, you know, not getting the game? And honestly, I think Sansol has to start at some point. I thought.
I don't think he'll be Wednesday.
No,
he's sixth choice at the moment, really, in midfield. It's crazy, but that's the way it is.
But Ramsey, listen, you know, came in again. He's so assured. You know, what a talent. Him and his brother, absolutely. What a talent. Like I've said before, we're actually blessed we're blessed in that department. We're blessed with really good young centre midfielders. And don't forget, David Luiz is still only 21, 22.
Douglas Luiz. Thank God we haven't got David Luiz.
Sorry, Douglas Luiz is still only 20, 21, 22. So I was watching the Leicester highlights actually before I came on here, and obviously.
All right. You don't need to justify it to me.
Well, sorry, I've just got to justify it to the 5,000 or 6,000 people watching. But
we love giving that much.
Yeah, he's only 21, 22, so he's still got a huge career ahead of him. You don't think he'll be here next season? I think he will. I think we'll tie him down, but I still don't think he's going to be good enough to get into that City squad with the way they're playing. You know, so I think we'll keep him. I think we'll tie him down to a new deal. But you know, we've got loads of really, really, really good centre midfielders. I do love Sansol. I love his energy. Even when he came on there on Saturday, he just seems to his work rate just seems to be right up there, and he has that bit of quality. And I'd love to see him. I'd love to see him get a game, and just to see what he can do, because we've only seen him in 10 or 12 minute spells, and it's hard. It's hard to really kind of, you know, get a feel for what kind of player. But like we said before, he's very much a player for next season. You know, if we hadn't got him this window, we would have gone in for him in the summer, I reckon. But I think the fact we got him for 14 million euro or 16 million euro, whatever it is, I think it was one of those deals that we weren't planning on doing, but we did it because the price was right. So that's why we're not saying, because we don't need him. We didn't need to bring him in. We brought him in because it was an offer we couldn't refuse. So he will feature much more next season. I can guarantee you that. But yeah, I can see Bartley coming back into the team for Ramsey. You can't drop Nakamba. You just can't. He's been a rock. I mean, he played against Newcastle. We won 2-0. Playing against Arsenal, we kept the clean sheet. Played against Leeds, we kept the clean sheet. Burnley at home, we kept the clean sheet. His interception rate has been phenomenal. His passing rate has been, stats have been right up there. And another player who's had 12 to 18 months to settle in, and he looks miles ahead of what he was last season. His composure looks better. His first touch looks better. His passing looks better. His positioning looks better. Again, watching those clips from last season from Carragher, and some of the positioning.
Some of it was embarrassing.
Some of the positioning was like, the game we were at, that Palace game we were at, and Jack ends up being left back. When they score, when AU scores, and you look at the Leicester game and the Southampton defending, and awful.
Thank God we're not there anymore.
Awful. So I think Nakamba is just become an all round better player, and you can't drop him. As much as I love Douglas Luiz, I think he's been one of our most improved players this season. I would I don't know. I think, because you said about you think it's the kind of game that we're going to have a lot of the ball. I think it's going to be a tough game, mate. It's another pitch that's not great. It's going to be scrappy. They're down there. They're still going to be trying to fight for their lives. It's going to be a scrappy game. So for me, Luis would be a much better option to bring in on Saturday against Wolves.
They sit back, to be fair.
Yeah, I would keep it the same. The back five will stay the same. Elmo will probably still keep his position. He'll keep his place, and quite rightly so. He was great against Leeds. And I think the only change we'll see is probably Bartley coming in for Ramsey. And if Jack is 50-50, then as you said, he might start on the bench and maybe come on with half an hour to go if we need him. But again, thought El Ghazi bags a goal. I mean, his stats are frightening as well. 7 goals in 18 appearances?
Yeah, not a lot of them would have been starts. He's a full-on confidence player. Though you saw straight away when he scored on Saturday. As soon as he scored, he was like, "Right, I'm at it. I'm on it here." And he was brilliant in that first half. I thought he was exceptional in the first half. But his confidence with him, if he starts the game well, he probably invariably will score, and then you'll see the El Ghazi that we want to see. If the game gets off to a bad start or we go behind, he kind of goes into his shell a little bit. You want that buzzing El Ghazi that we saw on Saturday, don't you?
Yeah, I agree. He's a complete confidence player, and he's got the game. He's got it in his locker. He's got pace. He's got power. He can take a pop. His technique. That first touch was exquisite. Finished with his weaker foot as well. Great cross from Watkins, by the way.
Great shot.
Yeah, that pitch was awful, wasn't it? On Saturday,
mate.
Diabolical.
The Leeds Park field.
Diabolical, but I think we'll see Bartley come back into the fray on Wednesday night. This could be a great game for him. You just want to see him kick on and recapture some of that form that we saw before he went out on and got injured. But I think hopefully the signs are looking better. I think we look a lot fitter. I think there were signs in the second half. Against Leicester, I think probably in the first half we probably felt a bit sorry for ourselves without Jack. We probably felt a little bit sorry for ourselves, and not having a player like Jack in the team. And I think we had a word with ourselves, and we were much better in the second half against Leicester, and then we were brilliant against Leeds on Saturday. We did what we had to do, and we're looking fitter. We're looking sharper, and hopefully that sluggishness that we saw post COVID is behind us, and we can kick on and have a really, really great finish to the season.
Give me your score prediction then to finish. What are you going for on Wednesday night?
See, I'm taking the factors of Wednesday and midweek, and we don't perform well, and all the rest of it. And our character said, obviously, we tend to follow up a good result with a poor one, and it would be so Villa to go there and get beat. But 2-0 Villa.
2-0 Villa.
Yeah,
I'm going to go 1-0 Villa. 1-0 away from home seems to be the go-to result for us. And if we get ahead, we're quite happy to sit there and just win a game 1-0. So I'll go 1-0. Although in the back of my mind, I'm thinking on the preview for the Leeds game, I predicted us to lose. And we went on which I did say would happen. In fairness, a part of me wants to predict us to lose again, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say that we're going to go to Bramall Lane on Wednesday night and win 1-0. And of course, after the game, you will be able to see a post-match pint in association with Purity on the Villa View. So make sure you're tuning into that, where hopefully we'll be discussing 3 points of the Villa boys and maybe a bit more about our European push. Obviously, there'll be a show on Saturday as well after the Wolves game. Show every few days at the moment. We'll probably have to have a match preview chucked in before the Wolves game as well. So keep your eye on that as well. And get yourself subscribed with your post notifications on so you do know when the content's coming, because to be honest, I haven't got a clue when it's coming with that busy schedule. So yeah, get your post notifications on and you'll see that. Get subscribing, comment as well if you have enjoyed this video, and give it a like. Help the channel grow. Visit our shop, buy some mugs, buy some posters. I think that does us. Thanks very much to Dolan for joining me, and we will hopefully see you all on Wednesday night up the Villa.